Hey, Emily, I've been waiting. Glad you got me on here. What an incredible development here, kind of out of nowhere. I know we had these isolated thunderstorms in the forecast for this afternoon, but to see another rotating low-top supercell, as you've been discussing here, with essentially no lightning at all, very reminiscent of what happened yesterday. Here it is moving into northwestern McHenry County.
Yeah, that's right. So there's not a ton of tight rotation with this that we're keeping a close eye on, but we are getting those reports of the broad rotation. So as far as the tornado warning goes, it remains in effect until 7:30 for those of you in northwest Indiana. We're seeing heavy downpours with this, and the movement it's very slow. It's only moving southeasterly at about 20 minutes. So in addition to all of the rain that we've picked up lately, Mike, this, of course, is going to lead to likely some localized flooding, at least some ponding on the roadways, right?
One good thing, though, this area, southern Walworth County, northern McHenry County, have been largely missed by the recent heavy rainfall events. I've talked to a lot of folks in that area involved in agriculture, and they've really been complaining about the fact, hey, we haven't gotten much rainfall here. So hopefully, even with the slow movement of this storm, the ground might be able to absorb this a little better than, say, if this storm was moving into southern Cook County, where it would definitely be a flooding concern. But I've been looking at the rotation that you've been pointing out here, and it is really loose. You can see a little bit of a couplet there to the northwest of Harvard. I'm also seeing no hail here, which is not surprising. I just did a scan with my own little internal radar here. The tops on this only about 27,000 feet, which is barely enough to get really any charge separation for lightning, much less hail production here. But this is the same thing that we saw yesterday. As you know, Emily, there's hardly any report of any hail, which frequently accompany some of the stronger tornadoes. This is definitely not the case here. This thing is sneaked up out of nowhere. I know you're also probably monitoring that cell that is in Rock County there near Janesville. That one so far looks like it's kind of falling apart. So hopefully this will be, the last of the sneaky storms coming out of Wisconsin for a while.
Yes, and speaking of sneaky storms, so earlier today, if you're watching the news, you're like, okay, you just said that we weren't going to be seeing severe weather. Well, let me show you this. So the severe weather outlook for today didn't show anything at all. So we really didn't have a ton of the ingredients in our atmosphere, in our area, that was really too supportive of this. But yes, this was a very sneaky storm for us. We still have all the storms that you see further to our west, and you were just mentioning those. We're going to track those very closely here over the next couple of hours as they start to advance toward the area. But really, we're not looking at a severe weather outbreak as we go throughout this evening and tonight. So that's fortunate. We're not looking at a repeat of yesterday. Zooming in, it looks like the tornado warning that was in Walworth County, that has since been expired. So the worst of the storm is continuing to work its way down into McHenry County. We have that tornado warning remaining in effect until 7:30. Looking at the rotation detector, notice we're really not seeing really impressive returns here. So typically, if we're talking about a strong tornado on the ground, you would see this lighting up in the oranges and the yellows, the reds here with the rotation detector. We're just seeing the green. So we're getting ideas that we could be seeing that broad rotation. And we have had reports that we're getting that rotating wall cloud. And then also we've had a couple reports of funnel clouds with this one, but it doesn't look like we've had any reports, Mike, of this thing making it to the ground.
Yeah, I've seen nothing similar to what you've got there. Looking at, and I'm bouncing back and forth between Sullivan, the Wisconsin radar site, and our own National Weather Service site, and it looks to me the Chicago scan actually is showing a little bit better rotation than what the Milwaukee scan has now, and even. Let me check one thing here. I'm seeing a little bit of hail not too far from Harvard right now.
Yes. So I'm pulling up our hail tracker, and we're not seeing a ton of it on our system here. But if we look at the storm relative velocity here, we're certainly seeing some signs of rotation here, like you were just mentioning, just northwest of Harvard. For those of you near Lawrence, we are seeing some of those returns. So what we're looking for here is typically you'd have this really tight couplet of the greens, the reds. We are seeing signs that we're getting some of that rotation coming together. This isn't a strong return, but regardless, for those of you that are in Lawrence, you're going to want to get to your basements if you're not already there. And if you don't have a basement, interior room of your home is always going to be the best. forecast. I want to throw on the rotation detector here, and we are seeing the signs of rotation. You can see it lighting up here just northwest of Lawrence, stretching from Graff Road over to Perkins Road for those of you in that region. Looking at the radar as well, it looks like, Mike, I mean, it really looks like the storm is past that area where we're picking up those signs, though. So, I mean, really, as far as my concern goes from this storm, to me, it's east of Lawrence, right?
Yes, exactly. And when you and I were texting earlier, when the warning first came out there for Walworth County, it looked like, based on where the spotters were saying there was a funnel cloud, it did not match up with where radar was depicting that the stronger circulation. That seems to be a consistent theme with this particular low-top supercell here.
Well, and of course, coming off the heels of yesterday, everybody's on high alert, right? So we had 7 confirmed tornadoes yesterday, and that number is likely going to continue to go up. The environment today is not nearly as explosive as what we were seeing on Wednesday, so that's wonderful news. But still, we're seeing those signs of sneaky rotation, as we were calling it. But as of right now, this really seems to be more of a broad rotation versus the tight couplet like what we typically see.